Hello YouTube and welcome to Prime Productions. I'm here to help enhance your tabletop gaming experience. If you're new to this channel, I primarily focus on Paizo tabletop role-playing games like Pathfinder and Starfinder. So it's that time again. Every month Paizo puts out a live stream called Paizo Live. Here they talk about upcoming projects, hyping new things, and releases coming down the pipeline. You can find these videos on Twitch, link in the description below, but I also like to do a brief summary of them for those who don't want to sit through a 1.5 hour live stream on Twitch with a bunch of advertisements, so here we go. And listen, I say this every time, but if I don't say it, someone will call me out. Doing a quick turnaround video like this means I have to cut corners. This is an unscripted video without a whole lot of edits, and there might be a few ums or uhs in the video and maybe a few spelling or editing mistakes. I'm sorry. Alright, we started off with the initial banter. They actually had some information here. Starting off, they have Maya, who seems to be the new host of Paizo Live, as they are the Paizo social media person. They said that there will be a social media post that if any mothers play Pathfinder on Mother's Day coming up, all of their checks are made at legendary proficiency as like a funny little joke. Also, they said that if anyone orders Treasure Vault Remastered, the physical copy of the book, they will get the PDF for free. Now, they also said, not in the live stream, but they have posted this on the website, that if you have the PDF for the pre-remastered Treasure Vault, you will get the PDF for the remastered Treasure Vault for free, just like same thing with Guns and Gears. And then we got on to the first section, which was about new board games coming out for Paizo. The first one is the Starfinder Infinity deck, which will be both a real-world deck of cards that you can play with and an in-universe game, kind of like D&D's 3-Dragon Ante. The deck has 5 suits, and the suits are all different, like one suit only has 1 face card. There are 4 different games that come with this deck of cards, and you can also design your own. The games are Absalom Ante, which is kind of like poker, they said. Salvage, which is a 1 to 5 player game, which means that there's a solitaire option. Mercenary 11, I think they said, which is a 2 to 4 player game, and you construct a solar system and zoom around it. That kind of reminded me of the old Decipher Star Trek CCG that I used to play when I was a kid. And lastly, Contraband, a 2-player game that involves bluffing your opponent. The second board game that they talked about is called Monster Match, and this one is really weird. It's a dating simulator where you, presumably humanoid PC, take monsters on dates. I have no idea what spawned this, but it seems fun. There's 20 available monsters, and they did talk about a few of them. There's an intelligent ooze named Glub who has their own corsage. There's a sphinx that you can take to trivia night. There's a vampire with just a giant ascot, and there are many others. There's also different types of dates you can go on, and they said that one of them involves board game night, where you can play maybe Conquest, I think, which is an in-universe Pathfinder board game. I do have to say I'm a bit worried about these games because the Trump tariffs on China have gone up since last month. And remember, last month they were at 54%, but now they're at 145%, so that's like unsustainable for most businesses, so I hope Paizo has a plan. Moving on, the second section is about Pathfinder and Starfinder Society. If you don't know, Pathfinder and Starfinder Society is the organized play for Pathfinder. Every month they put out like a couple of scenarios for both Pathfinder and Starfinder, and the new seasons will start at Gen Con 2025. And every season will have a metaplot. Not all the scenarios in that season will be related to the metaplot, but many will be. And so they talked about the new metaplots for the new season. They started off talking about Starfinder Society, which will be premiering Starfinder 2nd Edition Society at Gen Con 2025. Now, Starfinder Society 1st Edition will be coming to a close with the final season about the first ones, or guys who built the Anisates, these robot people on Avalon. Turns out, spoiler alert, they're bad news. The first season of Starfinder Society 2nd Edition will be called Invasion's Edge, and it involves a giant mysterious starship crashing into Akaton, that John Carter of Mars planet, and all heck breaks loose. Now, this starship that crashed into Akaton and one of the dangerous monsters aboard it are actually on the cover of the Galaxy Guide, which recently came out. It's called The Wreck of the Returned, and the in-universe theory is that the Wreck of the Returned is the first step in an invasion of the first ones, though something has evidently gone terribly wrong. Gen Con 2025 will have 4 adventures for Starfinder Society Season 1. There's also a third level adventure that kicks off the invasion. That's not one of the initial 4, that's just an additional adventure. The first 4 official adventures for Starfinder Society 2nd Edition are 1-1, which involves that wreck of the Returned, 1-2, which involves a cute planet with survey work, 1-3, which is a horror adventure where you need to save a bunch of survivors, and 1-4 is a fun relay race around Absalom Station, and the Starfinder Society is participating because it's a way to raise charity money. They also said that Starfinder Society 2nd Edition has been restructured slightly. They've put out a bunch of blogs, so go check out the Paizo blogs if interested on that. Pathfinder Society's 2nd Edition Season 7 will also be debuting at Gen Con. The metaplot of Season 7 is that tensions are leading to a war between Cheliax and Andrin, and the Pathfinder Society is getting into the thick of things. I think this is going to lead into a big company-wide event, kind of like how War of Immortals was, only this time it's going to be for Battlecry and the Hellfire Crisis, which involves 2 devils. One is named Kisrich and is shown on screen now. Also, spoiler alert, there's going to be more Red Mantis assassins in Pathfinder Society. That was a spoiler that was listed. Section 3 is about Mythspeaker, an adventure path that's going to be coming out shortly. It takes place in Ibliados, which is like basically classic Greece. It explores hero gods and myth speaking. Now, myth speaking hasn't really been explored much in Pathfinder, but it is a tradition in Ibliados of figuring out how people can self-actualize hard enough to become mythic. And basically, ever since Eridan's death 100 years ago, myth speaking hasn't worked, but it works for the PCs in Mythspeaker, and there's a big question as to why it's suddenly working again. Also, they said that in Ibliados, there's kind of an assumption that if you have mythic power, you will share it or use it to help the people. And so, this adventure path will also explore the societal expectations of having mythic power, which I think is really cool. There's going to be lots of expanding on Ibliados lore, which is not near Absalom. It's actually pretty far away, and we don't know much about that section of the Galarian world, so it's cool that they're exploring it. They said there's going to be lots of classical Greek monsters, a Cyclops, a Hydra, a Chimera, so on and so forth, a Sphinx, monsters based on the Fury, all that good stuff. They also said that there's going to be frequent naval and aquatic combat. It's not going to be a pure naval-based adventure path, but there's going to be a fair amount of that in the adventure. Also, they said that there's only like 8 of these hero gods left, and you can worship them as a cleric, or you can just be a cleric of a normal god if you want to. They also said that there's going to be new mythic feats in the adventure path, and new class options, including new epitaphs for exemplars, and new apparitions for animists. Finally, as always, at the end there was a Q&A. I just included most of the info into the relevant section. Remember, I'm going to be GMing a Starfinder Tech Playtest on Swing Ripper's channel next week, 6 p.m. Pacific, May 10th. Remember, I'm the one GMing. Come and check it out. That's going to be my video for next week. But that's all for this month. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure you like and subscribe. That tells not only me, but also YouTube that you like this kind of content and would like to see more. And until next time, thank you, good luck, and happy gaming!